I'm Jane Copier, and you're listening to Happy in the Middle, a podcast for Christian women who want to make the second half of life the best half. This podcast is all about helping women to reignite their spark and step into their divine power in order to create deep and connected relationships and also find that fulfillment and satisfaction they crave. So, if you're ready to grow, join me and learn how you too can overcome guilt, resentment, disappointment, and enjoy the fruits of creating a life well lived. Let's go. Hello, hello. Welcome back to Happy in the Middle, my friends. Today's episode is number 116, the cycles that every healthy marriage goes through. How are you doing? Can I just tell you how excited I am? Our son and his fiance are having a destination wedding this coming June in Tuscany, and we're looking so forward to traveling to Italy and sharing that with them. But in the meantime, because of the laws and legalities, they have to be married civilly here in the US first. So tomorrow we're flying to LA and they are going to have their ceremony on Saturday, Valentine's Day. I'm so happy. They have something really fun planned. So stay tuned. I'm going to share all of that with you next week. But I can't even tell you how happy I am to add this beautiful bonus daughter to our family. You know, you always pray that your kids will find someone truly good who will love them well, make them a better person. Our sweet Hunter is everything and more that I could ever wish for our son. She is kind, she's loving, considerate, so inclusive. She makes everyone feel like their best friend. She just really is an incredible partner for our son, and I love her so much, like she's my own for sure. So it's a really good week for our family, and we're just beyond happy that they found each other. With Valentine's Day happening this weekend, you know, I can't resist an opportunity to talk about marriage. And I've been thinking a lot lately about why things can't just stay good forever. You know how it is, you get into a place where you feel so loving, so connected with your spouse, and then something happens, or maybe nothing happens, and you just long for some kind of progress. And then we enter what I call the growth cycle. Every healthy marriage moves in cycles. No one is exempt. There are no straight lines, right? We're always either moving upwards or we're moving downwards. And because of this, there's just no constant happiness. It's always meant to be 50-50, my friends. Remember this, especially this week on Valentine's Day. Remember that life is going to be 50-50. And the way you feel about that, the way you think about that matters too. But the good news is that there's also no constant conflict, right? Bad things don't last forever. And when we learn how to move through these cycles more efficiently and more effectively, rather than staying stuck in conflict, it will become a rhythm. As I share the parts of this cycle with you, I want you to think about your own relationship and see if you don't just see a pattern. Can you locate where you are in your own current cycle? There are 3 parts to the growth cycle, and I think if we can just take this in and recognize it, that it's part of the plan, part of our evolving our relationship, it will be much easier to tolerate when we are in the less pleasant parts of the cycle. So here's what the growth cycle looks like. The first part of the cycle is the comfort or contentment stage. In this stage, you are at ease. Right? Think back to when you first loved each other, right? You love your partner. It's so easy to tolerate or overlook their small annoyances. There's trust and there's comfort, there's friendship. We treat each other well. We love each other. We just can't get enough of each other. Marriage researchers like Dr. John Gottman talk about this as a time when couples are building up their emotional bank accounts. Right? Imagine we're just storing all this love. We're filling our cup. We're storing that goodwill, that kindness, those shared meanings, that shared trust, right? We're just storing it up for the other parts of the cycle that are going to deplete that cup. So there's nothing dramatic happening in this comfort cycle. It's actually really just a beautiful space. But here's the truth that most people don't realize. Contentment is not the final destination of marriage. It never will be, right? You never arrive at this space and just stay there. It's a blessing when you're going through it. It's peaceful, it's restful. It's this place where you're, like I said, filling your tank before that next invitation to grow comes. Okay. And inevitably, because life is full of challenges, because there's opposition in all things, that invitation does come. And we move from this lovely stage of contentment into a stage of tension. In this stage of tension, what's going on is we just start to feel a little more on edge, right? Maybe we find a little more fault in our partner. Maybe we feel more distant from our partner, or like our partner is distancing themselves from us. This is a space where misunderstandings start showing up, right? Those old wounds get activated a little bit. We start to feel that our needs aren't being met, right? Old resentments start to surface. And it's in this place where we start to feel distance and frustration or loneliness. And this is the moment that way too many couples get scared and they think, uh-oh, something's wrong. There's definitely a problem with us, right? We're not good together. This isn't going well, right? But all the best marriage professionals know that this is just a stage. And people who've been married long enough to move through these cycles over time know that this is just a stage, right? This space of conflict can feel so horrible. But like I've talked about on the podcast before, conflict isn't the problem. It's when we disconnect without repairing the problem that we get into trouble. So, this stage of tension is not proof that your marriage is failing, right? Quite often, it's proof that your marriage is ready to deepen and ready to evolve to the next level. Interestingly enough, tension is what exposes what the comfort stage was hiding. Okay, those problems were already there. They just weren't at the surface. Things like unspoken dissatisfaction, those unhealed hurts, maybe a desire for deeper connection, those all still exist, right? But the tension phase brings them out. And individually, it really does shed light on those places where each person in the relationship still needs to grow. This is really healthy, my friends. We all need to grow. We all need to evolve. We don't want to stay stagnant. We don't want to stay stuck in our deficiencies, in our dysregulation, in our regression, right? So from tension, if we will work towards it, we will move into that growth stage. This is the messy middle, but it's also a really sacred middle. I always describe the messy middle by the use of an analogy of surgery. So just imagine walking into an open heart surgery and the patient's chest is cracked open. You can see the heart beating, see all the organs laying there. There's blood everywhere. It looks like a complete disaster, but it's only the middle and it is messy. But remember that there is an end to surgery where everything is cleaned up, everyone's sewn up nicely, the heart's been repaired, right? And so for all of the mess, this stage is super important, even if it is the hardest. Just remember that it's not the end, right? Usually we see a lot of power struggle in this stage where one partner is pushing for some type of change, the other is resisting or opposing the change. Growth really asks you to do things that your ego doesn't like taking responsibility for your reactions or learning how to regulate your emotions and stay engaged in a mature and a regulated way. It asks us to speak truth with kindness, to stay present, to stay on topic. Rather than shutting down and becoming defensive or bringing up the past or attacking your partner, you lean in toward your partner and you listen, you learn, you seek to understand. Right? This stage really asks you to become more loving than you were before. If we think about this through a lens of faith, this is the process of refinement. When we talk about it in psychological terms, this is the process of differentiation. Right? In real life, this is becoming more Christ-like inside of your marriage. And the beautiful thing about it is that when couples stay engaged through this growth work, they don't just return to the old contentment, they usually create a deeper contentment. There's no going back to that place, right? We create a new place that's more honest, more safe, more intimate. more peaceful, right? And then the cycle begins again, but at a higher level. It's just so important to learn about these cycles because it helps you to better frame your reality. Many people hit that tension cycle and they panic, right? Their black and white thinking brains catastrophize and think it's all over. And for many people, this might be true because they don't learn how to move through it. They avoid that growth. They won't move into the growth cycle. And then they take that same unmanaged brain into the next marriage and the next and wonder why those fail too. But when you do understand the stages of this recurring cycle, everything changes. Instead of saying it's all a mess and it's all over and done with and everything is a disaster, you can say, oh, okay, I see we're in a growth season. God's doing some work here, right? We're being invited to move to a higher plane together. That mindset alone really protects marriages. When you understand what is what, you stop panicking when things feel hard. You start using those hard moments to grow and become stronger. So, how do you manage yourself in your seasons, in your periods of growth, in the growth cycle? Let me give you some very simple and practical tips. And by the way, save this episode and come back to it as often as you need to. Each time you go through a cycle, come back and remember, okay? Because I promise that if you're in a committed relationship, this will be your experience, okay? So when you're in that contentment stage, be grateful, stay emotionally connected. Snowball that beautiful emotion by continuing to think amazing thoughts about your partner. Remember, we're trying to fill your cup as much as we can. Keep choosing kindness and friendship. Just fill that love tank as much as you can. But remember, do not become lazy in this contentment stage. Remember, your work to love your partner is what helps prolong this stage as much as possible. Don't be lazy. Okay, when you're in a tension cycle, slow down your reactions, pause, get curious instead of defensive. Remember that you're on the same team. This is so important. It's just like so disappointing, right? When you get to this place and you feel like your best friend, your lover, your person becomes your enemy. Remember, remind your brain you're on the same team. And focus on understanding before being understood. Keep leaning in, keep working to connect, keep trying to see the best in your partner. Okay. And then when you're in a growth stage, do your inner work. This is often very much so individual work where we have to really look at ourselves, examine our part in the problem, do that inner work, pray for help, pray for humility, examine your thinking. Become a student, right? Learn new relationship skills. Challenge yourself to stay soft and engaged instead of shutting down. Trust that discomfort is a sign that God is working on your transformation. It really is. I know this cycle can feel so overwhelming, but I would urge you to reframe it a little. Don't be afraid of the growth cycle. Embrace the opportunity to grow. Ask yourself, what is the benefit here for me? What am I meant to learn because of this? As you start to change and develop, celebrate those moments. Notice that growth and really give yourself a pat on the back for going through it. Give thanks to God for helping you through it. What a gift it is to learn and grow. This is just the best part of being a human, even though it's really excruciating at times. I promise, like, my idea of hell is staying the same, living that Groundhog Day life over and over and over. I can't even imagine living in a world without contrast. My soul needs expansion, and so does yours. So remind your brain when your marriage feels hard, that does not mean that hope is gone. It might just mean that growth is beginning, right? Growth, while uncomfortable, is where that deepest intimacy is born. We need it. We need it to become stronger and better and closer. Healthy marriages are not the ones that don't struggle. That's true, my friends. Every healthy marriage struggles, I promise you. They are the ones who walk the cycles together again and again, becoming more loving each time, building a greater capacity to love each other each time. And that kind of love is worth everything. I hope you will keep leaning in, keep pushing yourself to grow. Don't be afraid of that growth cycle. If you have questions about it, reach out to me. I hope you all have the best Valentine's Day. Do something fun. Pull together a list of questions for your date night so you have really good communication and learn a little bit more about your partner. Thank you for being with me today. Have a wonderful week, and I will talk again with you soon. Bye now. Hey, if you are ready to get unstuck and make your midlife amazing, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. And I want to invite you to join my Empty Nest Academy, where you will learn how to transform your mind, your relationships, and your life. Come free yourself of regret and disappointment and be so much happier. Listen, sis, we've got one shot at this big, beautiful life. Let's make it amazing. Go to janecopier.com, that's JaneCopier.com, and sign up today. And if you're not sure what's right for you, book a free consultation with me and we'll talk it over together. And we'll make sure to get you on the path that serves you the best. See you inside.